What is going on, you wonderful thought-having people you? I'm Jake from Give It Thought, and let's get right into today's top story. Another Sony executive has spoken out about No Man's Sky, piling on top of Shuhei Yoshida's comments about a month back where he said he was basically happy with the money No Man's Sky made for Sony. Who wouldn't be? This time though, it was Sean Layden who defended the almost universally disappointing space sim. He said the small team at Hello Games had an incredible vision of what they were going to create, and that the team, Sean Murray himself included, are still working at getting the game closer to what their vision was. So, according to Sony, to the surprise of everyone, Hello Games is still working on No Man's Sky. Layden, like most of us, appreciates No Man's Sky's vision, but he did not really comment on the shoddy execution of that vision, because, well, you know. Layden did go on to say something that will probably satisfy people who want to place the blame on Sony's shoulders. What we learned from No Man's Sky is that we don't want to stifle ambition. We don't want to stifle creativity. Right there, what is he saying? It really sounds like, if he is talking from Sony's perspective, which I assume he is, Layden is outright admitting Sony has some fault in this. He kind of admitted Sony's culpability in No Man's Sky being unfinished, or at least not living up to expectations. He continued, "We don't want to put people into slots where they must execute against an action-adventure path, or a fighting path, or a shooting path. And perhaps over time, it'll reveal itself to be all it can be." That part, taken out of context, makes absolutely no sense. Is Layden saying that there should be more player freedom in No Man's Sky? I doubt it. I mean, the game is not lacking in that aspect. What I think he is saying is that Sony pushed Hello Games to include some of the genre elements that made it into the game, and consequently, that left the game unfinished because the creators had to satisfy their publisher. I've talked about No Man's Sky a lot, sometimes to the detriment of this channel, but there are so many angles to look at with this situation. Do Layden's comments hold any water here? I guess what I'm asking is, are we being too hard on Sean Murray and Hello Games and not looking at the true culprit here? I wish I had an answer for you, but until we have the facts behind this disastrous treatment of consumers, there is no concrete summation of this story. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this though. Moving on, there is an interesting new game that I think more people need to hear about. It is being made by some ex-Battlefield and Payday developers, so it has some high pedigree behind it. The devs, led by David Goldfarb and Ben Cousins, who worked on Battlefield Bad Company, founded an indie studio called The Outsiders and have announced their first game called Project White. The footage from the game so far, which you are watching in the background, looks kind of generic, but it is who, or what rather, that is behind the first-person perspective that is anything but generic. You are set to play some kind of creature, which was inspired by Beowulf's Grendel apparently, as the backbone for seeing things from a monster's perspective. Even though it is influenced by the monsters of history, it is the team's own creation. Quote, "We're inventing this species of creatures. We can invent what it does." So we'll be seeing a whole new creature in this game, not one based on a past idea. Apparently we'll be following this creature throughout its life cycle. The whole concept is pretty neat. I'm interested to see how the monster's powers change throughout its lifespan, and what kind of lore surrounds this species. It is being made in Unity, so maybe this is a third-party game that will actually come to the Nintendo Switch. I know that seems off topic, but I'm just worried about it. So tell me what you think about this mysterious game. We don't know too much yet, but the concept sounds unique enough. Next up is one of those stories that you just hate to hear, because it does nothing but make gamers' lives more difficult. If you purchase Call of Duty Infinite Warfare from the Windows Store, you have likely noticed the inability to play with a lot of your online buddies. This is because the Windows Store copies of the game will not allow multiplayer with Steam copies, which is where most of PC players likely bought their copies. Why Microsoft would do something like this is beyond me, but my advice: don't buy it on the Windows Store. You can't support business practices like this. This is the kind of thing that taints the industry. It is nothing but petty, and just don't buy it there. Sorry to get so opinionated. But one last thing I wanted to mention was that we got a release date instead of a release window for Dragon Quest VIII. Instead of just January 2017, now we have the day, which is January 20th. If you followed any of my videos for any amount of time, you'll know that this is my dream come true. January 20th cannot come fast enough for me. But I just wanted to let everyone know about that release date that might have missed that news. But I guess that's about it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like for me. I'd really like to know if you enjoyed this video or not, and if more people like it, then I'll keep this kind of thing up. If not, I'll go back to my old format. But if you're new here and also like the video, why not subscribe? I put out a video every single day, so to be first in line for those, the best way to do that is to be under a subscription. But I think that's about it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, give thought to everything.